yeah, still testing out the suspension. I think I've nailed it. I think I've nailed the suspension. This suspension is so good on this bike. Like, seriously, don't worry about the V4S unless you want to pay the extra and get it. That's fine, go get it. But it's not going to be because this suspension is no good, because even just go to the StreetFighter V2's reviews, everybody raves about the suspension, and it's basically, well, the same suspension, Sachs and Showa, and basically this is just a beefed up version of the V2 suspension, because, you know, obviously 200 horsepower, it needs, you know, to be a bit stiffer, the springs, etc. But the suspension is amazing, and I will share that with you in another video about how to set this up, the suspension, and it's just changed my world. It's so good. I'm not complaining about riding this, believe me. It's so good, this bike, and just setting up the suspension, you know, perfectly. It took me a while to figure out what was going on with the suspension, but anyway, I love this bike. This bike is so good, so good. You're gonna love this if you get this. So now I think I've got a definitive answer after, you know, look at that plane there, right there, coming into land. Oh, it's a good spot here. Nice hills, nice valleys, planes coming in. You can see the city, golf course. It's just so good. But anyway, I have the definitive answer. Should you get the V4 or the V4 S? I reckon go to V4, the standard one, and spend your money on something else. Maybe carbon wheels, maybe get some the slip-on exhaust. But I mean, if you got the money, just buy the V4S and all that stuff as well if you want, you know. It's up to you, it's your life. But I am so happy with this bike now. Yeah, absolutely zero complaints. Look at it, Friday. Oh, having a smoko. Yeah, no worries, I'll knock off for a bong, mate. Good, I would say. So, should you get the V4 or V4S? Now, here's the deal. Why did I get this one instead of the V4S? Well, they didn't have a V4S, simple as that. Well, they did. They had a demo, but I didn't want the demo because it had too many Ks on it. Actually, it was only going to cost me like $1,000 or £1,000 more to get the demo V4S or this. So $1,000 more or £1,000 more, and you might think you're crazy, you should have got the demo. But the demo had 2,000 Ks on it. It had been outside for 6 months in the rain, in the sun, and Australia has the worst sun. If you don't know, our sun is really bad. UV, hole in the ozone layer, all that sort of stuff. So I didn't really want it. It was high Ks as well. I looked at it closely. Now, I actually didn't want a StreetFighter, believe it or not. I actually had my heart set on a Tuono, or if my wife would let me, because my wife's Italian, and, you know, she pretended I could have a Triumph, but really I had to have an Italian bike. The best, she says. I kept on telling her, it's an Italian bike, it's going to fall apart. She's not having it, so I had my heart set on the Tuono. Now, I didn't know which one to get out of those, the Tuono V4 I'm talking about, because I had the Tuono 660 and that was amazing. So I was thinking, oh, I'm going to get a Tuono V4 because the Tuono 660 physically was too small for me. I'm, you know, nearly 6'4", you know, 97 kilos, you know, 660 is a small bike, and I look like Donkey Kong on the, you know, Mario Kart. You know, Donkey Kong looks too big for the cart. That's how I looked like on the 660, Tuono 660. So I love that bike, and because I loved it so much, I'm thinking, well, I'll just get the big one, right? The big Tuono. But I went to have a look at this, and as soon as I sat on it, I'm like, I fell in love with it, because the riding position is just ace. On the StreetFighter, the riding position is much better than the Tuono. And I'm so glad I got to take the S for a ride, because the S was amazing, right? The plush suspension it has over bumps when it's in dynamic mode. Wow, truly amazing. But I did notice, even in street mode, that the small high frequency bumps, it would stay stiff. Now I don't know why. Maybe it wasn't enough to activate the active suspension and make it comply, but for whatever reason, high frequency bumps, it just felt stiff, whereas this one didn't. I mean, the V4S took bumps up better, but this one took those high frequency bumps up, and they're the ones I'm really worried about. The big ones you're going to try and avoid, of course. You can't always avoid it, but you try to when you can. But here's the deal, this suspension is so good. I'm going to put you onto a video of this guy riding this bike, and he hammers it, and he reckons it's the best bike he's ridden, like in terms of handling whatsoever. You're not missing out anything for handling. This is high quality suspension. It is top draw. Now the advantages of the V4S is you get the forged wheels, which is good, and I think it's good value. It's like only 4,000 or 5,000, isn't it, more? And you get the forged wheels and the electronic suspension. Now with the electronic suspension, you get to be able to change the things on the fly. But have you seen the menu for that? Oh my god, there's no way known I want to be faffing about with all the settings for the electronic suspension. Like, I'm happy with mechanical suspension, you know, 3 things to do: preload, you know, rebound and compression. That's it. The amount of settings on the other one, the electronics, no, that's not for me. I would have to get someone to set that up. I'm not going to sit there for an hour faffing about with the menu and all that. No, forget about it. So performance wise, you're not going to see a difference between the two, especially like on the track and for sports riding. But yes, the dynamic nature of the electronic suspension and being able to change it on the fly, they're the advantages of that suspension. So at the end of the day, I guess it's up to you in terms of that. But I want to think now, say for example you can only afford as much as what the V4 S costs, and you think, should I get the V4 S? Think about it. You can get the standard V4 and then you can put a Aprilia slip on, right? Or you could get the standard one and get some carbon fibre wheels for pretty much around the same sort of price as getting the V4S. Now, if I had bought the V4S, I would have said to you, get the V4S, it's only 4,000, you know, whatever, 4,000 or 5,000 more, you know, get that, it's well worth it. I would have said that to you, 100%. But I'm not ignorant now. I have the standard V4, and I'm telling you now, you're not going to miss much when it comes to suspension, other than what I'd said before. And forged wheels, whatever, you've got money in the kitty there to buy some carbon wheels or an Aprilia exhaust. So, you know, would I change my decision now if I had both available? No. I think I'll go for this and get the Aprilia exhaust. And you might think, why haven't I got it? Well, I'm thinking about doing that. I'm thinking about getting it. I'll just slow down through here. But there is one problem. It's too loud. It's too loud as it is. So I'm not sure about that, because I've had my neighbours dob me in for my dog barking. I'm not even joking. They dob me in for my dog barking, so what are they going to do with a loud motorbike? I mean, that's one thing that's got me worried. Now, I have nailed this suspension now. This is perfect. I don't think I can get it better anymore. I love it how it's set up now. I've got to just make sure that I'm not getting too close to the bottom of the fork. So I've set it up really plush. There will be a video about this suspension, how to set up the non-S version, how to set up the suspension. And I've definitely nailed it for what I want. Definitely. It's beautiful, this suspension now. So anyway, stay tuned for that. I would definitely be getting a V4 now, and it looks better too because it doesn't have the gold fork. So you can have the Ronald McDonald version, which is the one with the gold forks, or the ketchup and mustard version, or you can have the nice one with the gunmetal forks, which looks a bit better. And actually, a lot of the times where I see the V4 done up, even on Ducati's website with all the kit on it, like the dry clutch and all the bits on it, a lot of the time they use this model because they like the look of it with the darker forks. And even Moto Million's done this version as well. So yeah, for some food for thought there. I said thought. Let me know what you would go with. I don't think you'd go wrong with either. I probably would go this now that I'm not ignorant and I know how good this is. I think I'd go with this one, and I'm glad I did. Now that I've set up this suspension how it is now, it's golden. Oh, it's so good. I set it up like my Tuono 660 because that, oh mate, I was thinking, why is the Tuono 660 better for handling and stuff? Of course it's like 25 kilos lighter and smaller, and it's a bit more of a dart, more nimble than that, but it just felt a lot better for handling. Not just handling though, for suspension. And I'm thinking, this has got higher quality suspension, surely this should be better. And sure enough, once I set it up like the Tuono, because I worked out how the Tuono was set up, oh, so much better. And yes, Dave Moss Tuning helped me, because I watched one of his videos on the Tuono, I watched Street Fighter, and I saw how the Tuono was set up to 660, and I set this up to sort of mimic that, and so much better now. It's so much more neutral, it just feels so much better for me. So anyway, I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Tally ho!